fight fans? It's Michelle Joy Phelps with Behind the Gloves in association with Fresco Box, and I am here with none other than the legendary promoter, Frank Warren. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. What about you?
I'm good, thank you. This view is insane. I don't think I've ever seen London's view like this.
Great view, and this revolves.
Yeah.
This revolves.
360 view.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Well, first off, congratulations. You got a stacked lineup of guys on your roster. I mean, it's got to feel great going into 2018 with everybody that you even showcased today.
Well, they're good fighters and great fighters. They're on quality, and there's some youngsters who are going to go on, I think, to do some great things in boxing. Yeah, it's brilliant. We're here today to launch, to announce our new deal with BT, a long-term deal. We've got a great partnership with them. We're there talking about not just the up-and-coming fights, but the pay-per-view platform that we're also launching. So that's going to get us into a position where we can build even and create even bigger fights.
Tyson Fury, fantastic man to sign. First of all, he's everything that the heavyweight division needs. He's entertaining, he's charismatic, and he's a great boxer. What is the 12-month goal with him?
What we're going to do is he's going to be fighting before Christmas. He'll have at least three fights under him. Just get the ring rust out of him. They're not going to be fighting the top guys, but he's going to just get the ring rust out, set himself up, get himself not just physically but also mentally in a position where he can go and get his belts back.
Right. We're talking a bit about the Anthony Joshua fight between the two. May I ask how we can see the possibility of BT Sport and Sky Sports sort of coming together to make that fight, because they're both signed with different networks?
Well, look, you know, you've seen it happen in the States. You've seen Showtime and HBO work together to make fights happen. If that's going to be the stumbling block, I'm quite sure that the respective heads of the TV companies will want to do the best for their subscribers. So we'll make it happen. You know, the name of the game is to deliver it to the fans, and whatever it takes, there'll be, you know, from us, there'll be cooperation.
Billy Joe Saunders, we know that he will be fighting Martin Murray. There was a lot of talks of potentially facing Triple G. We know that's not going to happen. If it does, it would be something for the fall. Now hearing that Canelo is going to be coming back in September, more than likely going to be facing Gennady Golovkin.
That will happen in September, there's no doubt about that. So Bill's got a real tough fight with Martin Murray. He mustn't take his eye off the ball with that. If he comes through that fight, I'll have him out again in September, because we're not going to hang around waiting for the outcome of the Triple G and Canelo fight. And then the winner of that, whoever the winner is, and Bill's still there, then he'll fight them.
Who would you like to see him face later in the year? We do have the likes of Charlo, we got Danny Jacobs. Obviously, we'd love to see a unification fight.
Unification.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. You know, the others are there. Bill's, we went out to Canada to fight on HBO to fight Lemieux. With the reason we took the fight is to ensure that we got a shot, or Bill got a shot at either Golovkin or Canelo. But I think he's scared off Canelo, and obviously Golovkin's he's seeing the big payday and a fight that he believes he's going to win in September. So we'll just be patient and wait for that. But Bill's priority, or my priority, is delivering one of those. Yeah. The other guys, you know, let them fight their way into contention. Let Charlo against Daniel Jacobs is a good fight. Let them fight each other.
Yeah, that's true. Now, we know that Billy Joe said in an interview that Eddie Hearn at one point was sort of flirting with the idea of wanting to sign him. What did you make of all of that?
Well, why wouldn't he? He's a great fighter, and suddenly they're all jumping on the bandwagon. The fight they didn't want to know about, you know, now they're looking at him and saying, "Wow, he's the real deal." After the Lemieux fight, you know, I've always known that Bill is a top quality boxer. He turned pro with me. He's won the British, European, Commonwealth world title. We've been through some thick and thin, through some ups and downs, and he's done brilliantly. He's stayed with me, and I've stayed with him. We've been good to each other, and the bottom line is we're moving on to bigger and better things. Anybody wants to get involved or try and get involved, they'll try and do that. That's the nature of the business, but you know, we're okay. We've got good things we're working on, and this deal today enables us to deliver the big pay-per-views that he craves for.
Greg, I have to ask you what your thoughts are on the whole Lou DiBella, Eddie Hearn drama that's going down. As a promoter, what do you make of that? It's very publicly played out in Twitter.
Well, it's a load of, at the end. No, I'll tell you. You're doing well here, mate. You're doing well. How do I see that? Look, forget all the Twitter and all this stuff. At the end of the day, Matchroom offered £8.5 million for the fight, or $12 million for Deontay Wilder to come here, and Wilder's team, Al Heyman, Shelley Finkel and Lou, they've offered $50 million to go there. It's a vast difference in purses. You know, $50 million, I don't even know what the argument's about. That should be, I accept your offer. Now, I want proof of funds and send a contract. The contract's not going to be no big 28-page document. It's about agreement because it's a one-off fight. It's not a promotional deal, it's a one-off fight. And then you're in business. There you go, there's your $50 million. When it's not $50 million, that's the guarantee against 50%. So it could be much more than that if it does really well. And it will do well, it's a big fight. So, you know, they've been talking for ages about Joshua making his debut in the States. Well, there's a great debut to make. And by the way, you're going to walk away worst case scenario with $50 million. Right. I don't get it. You know, to say this is a bullshit offer, this is paper talk, this is it. If that's what, why say that? Call it. If you think they're bluffing, call their bluff. Al Heyman in the past has put up and been involved in big fights with much bigger fights, bigger fighters than Anthony Joshua, with Mayweather and other guys, and that money was always there, so why won't this money be there?
Yeah. Well, what do you reckon is the problem then? If someone like you would say...
Eddie Hearn don't want to do it. Of course he doesn't. He feels that it's been taken away from him, you know, and that's the problem. It's not the Eddie Hearn show, it's the fighters. They want to make the fights, you know, both Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I'm sure they want to fight each other. Just get it on, you know, and why should it? There's no obstacles in the way of this fight. The only one obstacle I see is that, and judging by his comments, is Eddie Hearn feels like somebody's trying to do a Billy Joe Saunders on him.
We also have Tyson Fury that we would love to see against Anthony Joshua. I think that would be the biggest fight here on British soil.
Do you know what? That'd be the biggest fight in my lifetime in British boxing, number one. Number two, it'd probably be one of the biggest ever British sporting events. That's back page, front page in the newspapers. Everybody will be clamouring to see it. Wembley Stadium's not big enough for it. That's how many people will want to go along to see it. It's a huge, huge fight. Yeah. You've got Anthony Joshua, who's done brilliantly as a fighter, done everything that's been asked for him. He's exciting, he's personable and charming. And then you've got, you know, Mr. Charisma himself there in now, who brings so much to the party. And by the way, is the lineal champion. No one's ever beaten him. Yeah. You know, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, you know, with due respect to them, until they beat him, they can't be considered to be the world champion. He never lost those belts in the ring. They picked him up from what happened from, you know, with his problems. So that fight would just go through the roof. It'd be huge.
Would that fight be a 50-50 fight from you guys? Would you not settle for nothing less than 50%?
50-50 fight, down the middle. Undefeated lineal champion against a guy who's holding the belts. But you know what? That fight doesn't even need belts. That fight, just the two guys, keep the belts, just fight each other, whatever you want to do. That is a massive, massive fight. Huge fight, huge British sporting occasion.
Another heavyweight that's talked about right now is Dubois. Yeah. We know that he is a heavy hitter and in due time is going to be a threat in the heavyweight division. What's the 12-month goal for him?
I think it's continuing to learn his trade. You know, as you say, we know he's a big puncher, but boxing's not just about being a puncher. If that was the case, you wouldn't need judges. It's about the art of self-defense, hitting and not being hit. And Anthony's continually learning his craft and his trade. 12 months' time, I think he's been in a position where he's going to be there or thereabouts fighting one of these guys.
And lastly, I want to ask you about the World Boxing Super Series. What are your thoughts on that tournament, and would you like to put any of your guys in it in the future?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem putting it in there. My only problem is because of how these things are set up, you have problems with the final. If one of the guys gets injured, you're not getting the best fighting the best. And obviously that's the situation at the moment with George Groves fighting Callum. So I don't know when that's going to happen. But yeah, it's not a new concept.
Yeah.
You know, these competitions go on back. I remember doing them when I first got involved in boxing. Old time promoter called Jack Solomons used to have a heavyweight night where all the guys all fight each other. It's nothing new, but the problem is somebody gets injured, you get you can wind up with a loser in the final. A loser fighting somebody to make up the numbers. That's the only downside, but it's been good. There's been you've seen George Groves in with Eubank. Has been fine. There's been a couple of fights not been as much. For me, the more interesting has been the cruiserweight division.
Oh God, I think it's given them such a fantastic platform too.
It has. But unfortunately, all those cruiserweights, if they walked around here now, no one would know who they are. Unfortunately for them.
Yeah, true. Well, Frank, it's great speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time. I know that there's a lot of press around wanting to interview you. So again, thank you so much, and we'll speak with you soon. All right, thank you. Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so by clicking this icon right here, or else